Good evening to all. Today we are going to see about the ultraviolet visible spectroscopy. The ultraviolet means it is a region beyond the red is called the infrared, while that beyond the violet is called as ultraviolet. Ultraviolet means that region beyond the violet is called as ultraviolet. The wavelength range of ultraviolet radiation starts at blue end of visible light 4000 Armstrong to 2000 Armstrong. Next we go for the instrumentation. The components of spectrometers. What are the components is to be present in a spectrometer means source, monochromator, sample compartment, detector and recorder. Here we see that this is a block diagram of this instrumentation. Radiant source, wavelength selector, solvent, photodetector and readout devices. These are the instrumentation block diagram of this spectrophotometer. Next we go for, this is a instrumentation for this spectrometer. Here we see that initially we give a source, that is the ultraviolet radiation. Next the ultraviolet rays is to be given to this entrance slit. After that out of this entrance slit of light rays is to be fed into this monochromator. What is the use of this monochromators? The monochromators is used to remove the unwanted wavelength. Then that particular wavelength is to be given to the sample. After that the wavelength is to be little bit changed based on these sample components. After that the changes will be recorded by using these detectors. The detectors output is to be a electrical signal. That electrical signal is to be very small. So we convert this this signal is to be amplified by using this amplifier. After that the amplified value is to be recorded by using these readout devices. This is the working principle of this spectrometer. Next, the radiation source. It is important that power of radiation source does not change abruptly over its wavelength range. The electrical excitation of deuterium or hydrogen at low pressure produces a continuous UV spectrum. Both deuterium and hydrogen lamps emit the radiation in the range 160 to 375 nanometer. What's the problem means, due to evaporation of tungsten life period decreases. It is overcome by using tungsten halogen lamp. Halogen gas prevents the evaporation of tungsten. Radiation for ultraviolet region, the hydrogen discharge lamp that consists of two electrodes contained in deuterium filled silica envelope. The UV visible spectrometer have both deuterium and tungsten lamps. The selection of lamp is made by moving lamp mounting or mirror to cause the light fall on a monochromator. The deuterium lamps, the radiation emitted is 3 to 5 times more than the hydrogen discharge lamps. The xenon discharge lamp, the xenon stored under pressure in 10 to 30 atmosphere. Next we go for the filters or monochromators. Here the all monochromators contain the following components parts: the entrance slit, the collimating lens, the dispersing devices and focusing lens and exit slits. This all the arrangement is used to remove the unwanted wavelength of this source. This is a major process done by these monochromators. Next, the types of filters. The glass filters, the made from pieces of colored glasses which transmit limited wavelength range of spectrum. The wide bandwidth 150 nanometer. It's used to remove the unwanted wavelength and it only allow the particular wavelength. Then gelatin filters, that consist of mixture of dyes placed in gelatin and sandwiched between glasses plates. Bandwidth 25 nanometer. Interferometric filters, bandwidth 15 nanometer. And next we go for the prisms. The prism bends the monochromatic light. Amount of deviation depends on wavelength. They produce non-linear dispersion. Next we see that this is the mechanism of working of prism. Here we see that the sunlight is to be given to this focusing lens. After that the light is to be focused and here using one collimating lens. This also collect all the lights and it's to be given to this prism. After that the out from this light rays, the light from the prism is given to this focusing lens. The focusing lens also used to collect the focus the all lights and after that the focusing beam is to be given to this detecting screen. It's to be splitted into the particular wavelength in the range of red to violet. The sample containers or sample cells. The variety of sample cells available for UV region. The choice of sample cell is based on the path length, shape and size. The transmission characteristics at the desired wavelength. The relative expense. The cell holding the sample should be transparent to the wavelength region to be recorded. The sample holding devices must be transparent. The codes or fused silica cavities are required for spectroscopy in a UV region. The silicate glasses can be used for a manufacture of cavities for use between 350 and 2000 nanometer. The thickness of the cell is generally 1 centimeter. The cells may be rectangular in shape or the cylindrical with the flat ends. This is a cavity. It's made up of quartz or glasses, and it is in the shape of rectangular or cylindrical. Next, we go for the detectors. The three common types of detectors are used: barrier layer cell, photocell detector, photomultiplier, photovoltaic cells. The barrier layer cells, first we go for barrier layer cells. It consists of a flat copper and ferric electrode on which semiconductor such as selenium is deposited. On the selenium is a thin layer of silver or gold is spotted over the surface. Here we see that this is a barrier layer cell, and the semi-transparent silver and semiconductor and metal base. These are the three layers in a barrier layer cells. This barrier layer cells also used as a detector. It's used to find the wavelength of this radiation. Next, we go for the photomultiplier tube. It's generally used as a detector in UV spectrophotometer. It is the combination of photodiode and electron multiplier. It consists of evacuated tube, contains the photocathode, 9 to 16 electrodes known as diodes. Here we see that the photosensitive cathode is to be fixed in that, and is to be anode. The anode and cathode arrangement is to be arranged in a manner, and after that the light rays is to be fed into this place, and it's analyzed this light rays is to be given to this, and after that the light rays is to be converted into the electrical signal by using this cathode and anode, and that the electron is to be transferred between this cathode and electron, means it's create some amount of current. This current signal, small amount of current signal is to be recorded by using these readout devices. This is the principle of photomultiplier tubes. Next, we go for the advantages of double beam spectrometer. It is not necessary to continually replace the blank with the sample or to adjust the auto zero. The ratio of the powers of sample and reference is constantly obtained. It has the rapid scanning over the wide wavelength region because of the two factors. Actually, that double beam spectrometer means the input of this beam is to be split into two beams. One is the sample and another one is the reference. Two splitted beam is to be analyzed by using this detector. That is a double beam spectrometers. Here we see that this is a ultraviolet source. After that, the output from this monochromator is to be split into the two rays. 50% of light rays is to be given to this sample, and 50% of light is to be given to this reference cell. After that, the sample and reference cell is to be analyzed by using this detector. The detector give a particular output, and that output is to be recorded by using these readout devices. Next, the single beam spectrometer. This lamp and lens, the entrance slit, collimating lens, the grating, light control knobs, exit slit, cavities, photo tips and meter. This is a arrangement for single beam spectrometer. Here here we don't split any beams into sample and reference. The only one beam is to be used to analyze. Here the double beam colorimeter. Here we see that the light rays is to be splitted into two. Here we see that the tungsten lamp, the filter. After that, here we are using one beam splitter. The beam splitter is used to split the beam into two parts. One is given to the sample cell and another one is given to this reference cell. After that, the reference cell output and the sample cell output is to be differently and verified by using this photocell. The photocell output is to be recorded by using this readout devices. This is a double beam colorimeter. Next, application of these spectrometers. The application in organic components. It is the help to show the relationship between different groups. It is useful to detect the conjugation of the components. The detection of geometrical isomers. In case of geometrical isomers, components that trans isomers exhibits lambda max and the slightly longer wavelength and have the longer that excitation coefficient than the cis isomers. The detection of functional group. It is possible to detect the presence of certain functional groups with the help of UV spectrum. These are the application of UV spectroscopy in organic compounds. Next we go for the general applications. The qualitative analysis. UV absorption spectroscopy can characteristic those type of components which absorb the UV radiation. Identification is done by comparing the absorption spectrum with the spectra of known component. It is useful in quantitative analysis of the components. The detection of impurities. The UV absorption spectroscopy is the one of the best method for detecting impurities in organic components. The tautometric equilibrium. UV spectroscopy can be used to determine the percentage of various keto and eno forms present in a tautometric equilibrium. The chemical kinetics. UV spectroscopy can be used to study the kinetics of a reaction. The molecular weight determination. The molecular weights of components can be measured by spectroscopy. The analysis of inorganic components is to be measured by using this spectroscopy. The measuring concentration of solution absorption band can also used to determine the concentration of components in a solution. In organic chemistry, the absorption spectra have been used in connection with many problems in inorganic chemistry. It is useful to determine the structure of the chloral. These are the application of this UV visible spectroscopy. Thank you all.